Okay, and now that kind of leads into the issue of the economy right now. There's a lot of people. There are the people that are sort of the, I don't know, permanent underclass is a poor way of putting it, but people that it's generational poverty. But then you have a lot of people in this economy that have been put in that situation that were never there before. And, that leads to the issue of economic growth. Right now, unemployment above 8%, and if you start looking at shadow unemployment and people just give it up, it's much more acute than that. What is your view, and what would you support in terms of economic growth in this country, which would drive more jobs?
Well, and that's a great point, because the thing is, there are incredible economic opportunities in the global economy that were never present for our parents or our parents' parents. There are somewhat our competitors people are aware of, like China, but China now has much of the world, and China, India, Brazil, they have what I guess you call middle income economies, where the average income may be $20,000 a year. They're growing, and there's here's a Nobel laureate, Michael Spence, who wrote a book called The New Convergence, talking about the world is getting smaller, and we're not able to produce the same type of things we used to produce and basically dominate the market. We're finding people throughout the world, India, China, places in Africa, that because their labor is paid less, they can actually produce these much more cheaply. But at the same time, within things like the iPhone that people may be aware of, that is something that the interesting thing is, like these new iPhones, they cost maybe $500 if you don't get them with a plan. They're not produced here, which is a bummer. They're made in China. But you know what? How that $500, only $7.25 is spent in China on the production. They're basically parts come from all over the world, and I think like $173 of every iPhone that's made is a profit that comes back to the United States. So we're selling. My son's very into the Apple stuff. Looked up on the website. We sell those to 160 countries over the world. And it's just, if we don't, as Americans, we don't need to produce and sell everything to everybody, but we need to identify some things we do very, very well and sell those. And we've already identified some of those things with computer software, some of the architecture, some of the financing we do. It can be done, but we have to suddenly get away from our mindset that we have to produce everything in the manufacturing economy that we did before and sell it to everybody. That's not going to work. That model is over. But we really can prevail. We have to retrain our workers and look to say, what are those markets out there that we can compete in?